Welcome to the ZenRUN Podcast. I am so glad you're here. Each week we dive into the real, raw and often unexpected journeys of everyday runners. Because every runner has a story and every story has the power to inspire. If you've got a running story of your own, whether you're just lacing up for the first time or you're deep into your ultra journey, I'd love to hear it. Sharing your experience might be just the thing that someone else needs to get out the door. And hey, if you're looking for a bit of motivation or just want to keep your running fun and stress-free, check out ZenRUN. It's a relaxed space with guided runs, simple training plans, and monthly challenges to help you stay consistent without the pressure. All right, let's jump into this week's story. It's a good one. Today on the podcast, we're chatting with the wonderful Jason Rantall, who I met through the Melbourne Frontyard Ultra. And I quickly knew that Jason had a very big story. He's a runner, a dad, a mental health advocate, the founder of Better Mental, and someone who has used running in a really powerful way, not just to get fit, but to completely shift the direction of his life. In this episode, Jason speaks really openly about mental health, addiction, recovery, family, community, and how running became the catalyst for change. But don't worry, it's not all heavy. We also talked backyard ultras, Melbourne Frontyard Ultra, kids accidentally becoming mini ultra runners, crazy running man, finding speed again, and why putting your runners on might be the first tiny step that changes everything. Jason also answers Paul Pratt's pass the baton question and leaves one for my very next guest, which you'll have to listen out for at the end of the podcast. So settle in. This is a really honest, inspiring and very human chat with Jason Rantall. Today on the ZenRUN Podcast, I am really excited to speak to Jason Rantall, who I met at the recent Melbourne Frontyard Ultra. And I could tell this guy has a big story. And I really wanted to chat with him because I'm just curious and want to find out more about it. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. I'm excited, to be honest.
Me too. I can't wait. I have been really looking forward to chatting with you. I don't know if you listen to any of the podcast episodes, and it really makes no difference at all. But
I have.
Oh, you have? Oh. They work like this. I want to ask you about your background and basically where you grew up. So how about we start from there and then we'll work our way through your life a little bit and eventually talk about running at some point. So tell me, where did you actually grow up? Tell me about that. Tell me about you as a kid.
I was born in a place called Kyabram, but we didn't stay there long. I actually grew up in Gisborne. So it's not such a small country town now, but it was when I grew up. Everybody knew everybody, and football was the main thing, I suppose. Football and netball for the girls, and then, just hanging out with your mates, riding bikes. It was a little bit hilly, Gisborne, so I got the legs working. But, Gisborne was the place I grew up from a young age and did my primary school and high school in Gisborne,
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a brother and a sister.
And
brother's 22 months younger than I am, and my sister is 6 years younger than I am. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. You were leading the way.
Sometimes that was good, sometimes bad, I suppose.
What had your family moving to Gisborne in the first place?
We were in Bacchus Marsh for a little bit of time. My dad grew up there, and my nan and pop from my dad's side lived there.
Yeah.
So Bacchus Marsh, and then that didn't work out, that relationship. So mum is a single mum, had me. She was 17 years of age when she had me, and 19 with my brother. Single mum, and she really taught me how to fight in life because she's a real fighter and did it tough financially and very little support, sadly. But she taught me how to fight, and fight I do. So that's where that comes from. But, so Gisborne, mum had a good friend that we moved into their place for a little bit of time. when we left back to Smash. But so we're there, and just friends. And Mum got a job at Australia Post there in Gisborne, and was a postie on a push bike for many years.
Really?
Yeah,
that's so cool. Because it's a really good connector, I think. I know a couple of posties here in Tassie, and they seem to be really good at like connecting. They know who's where, and they talk to people, and they know the gossip.
I reckon absolutely. I suppose you're going house to house, small country town.
Yeah.
You got to know everything, I suppose, don't you? And you see what's going on. You see changes all the time, I suppose, because you're constantly riding the same streets.
And everybody knows the postie as well in those circumstances too. So it works both ways. So they know who the postie is. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
So, Mum worked as a postie there, and we stayed there, grew up there, and did the childhood thing. All my childhood mates are from there. I don't see many of them anymore, but, when you have childhood friends, they last forever. It doesn't matter if it's you don't catch up for years, but when you do, it's like you were never separated. It's so cool.
It's those shared experiences from back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Formative stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was sport like for you as a kid? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is it like for Jason?
Sport?
Yeah, at school when you were young.
It was football. It's funny now, and we can talk about this later, but looking back, I loved running, and I forgot about that when I got lost in addictions and so forth. But I was fast, and I was always probably there'll be a few people that might listen to this from school that will object and say they were fast, but I believe I was the fastest in the school. And I wasn't a long distance runner though, but I like to just get it done and be done. But sport at school, I was always involved in sport. Even being a short guy, I did long jump, and I was pretty good at that, and high jump. But fast running and football was my love. Football took away all the emotional and thought pain, and it just it allowed me freedom when I ran out on the footy field, and still love it to this day.
Do you play it now?
No, I played until I was 50. The only reason I stopped playing is I had a lot of years off here and there, but with work and different situations. But I played on and off. I played all my junior, like I never missed as a junior right up to senior. And then I had a little bit of time off when the kids came along and work and stuff like that, and then went back to it, and then got dragged back in a couple of times by coaches that wanted me to come back. But at 50, I played old fools footy, and I enjoyed it. But I'd started running, and I was really loving running, and I kept tweaking hamstrings and stuff like that. I just
lots
thought
of impact stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, and it was taken away. I love it, but it was taking away from my ability to train running, and that's my real love now. So I made a decision to concentrate on the running and get rid of the football. And now my boys play footy, and I just live through them. Like, I get more joy out of watching them play than I ever did playing. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Like as an Aussie myself from South Australia, I suppose. Not from South Australia, but southeastern Australia. It's such a thing in our culture, football. Yeah. Like, I grew up on a tiny island, on King Island, and it was like on the weekends you went to football, walked around the edge and watched all the guys play footy, and then I'd go play my netball, and then it was time to go home. Like, that's Saturday, and that was pretty much, I think, most small country towns in Australia and in southeastern Australia back then. That's what it was. And still to this day, football plays such a big, Aussie rules play such a big role in this.
Absolutely does. Yeah, and I love the whole thing about it is the community, the connection, the movement, and all the things that I talk about now with good health and how I've managed to find my way to where I am now from where I was. And it's through that connection of people, the movement, the community, and those sort of things that have really helped me. So footy clubs can do it well, but they can also do it badly if the culture's not good. So we're very embroiled in the footy club here at Traff now as parents and as participants in the footy club, and I do the running for the kids, and my wife's part of the footy netball club, and and we're part, and Better Mental, our charitable organisation, is actually not next week, the week after, doing next Friday, a mental health round with the juniors. So it's a full circle sort of thing going on.
Yeah, it's like we've jumped straight from your childhood right into right now, thanks to football. trying to work out, how to step through your life. So at school you were saying that, on reflection, you enjoyed running because you were quite good at it. Or, sorry, very good at it because you were the fastest.
Hey, there will be people challenge this, but I remember very vividly that I would cross the line first nearly all the time. So I'm going with it.
I love that. Do you know what? Same with me. On King Island, same with me. There was one girl who was the year above me, but my age, because of the way your ages worked, and she could always beat me. Then, of course, year 10, she left. She'd already gone. So, because we only got up to year 10 on King Island. So,
took over.
Yeah. I'd already got, I think, track and field champion 2 years in a row. But yeah, there's not exactly a lot of people on King Island. I would have to put that out there.
That's right. It doesn't matter. You can only be competitive with those that are there.
That's right. Exactly. But it's funny. It's something on the podcast that we talk about a little bit, and that is it definitely splits people if I ask them about what they thought about running as a kid. And some of them, although, they're on a running podcast, they obviously like running as an adult, but they hated it as a kid or they loved it. And often the ones who really loved it, not always, but often, it's because they did well, or at least they thought they did well at school. So there was that attachment to something that I'm enjoying this because I'm doing well at it. I guess we all like to do well at stuff, or at least perceive we do well at it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you enjoyed it as a kid, even though you didn't realize, on reflection, you can see that now, that it was part of it. So yeah. All right. What happened school-wise for Jason? Were you a very academic kid? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was. I did well at school. I did well at sport. I did well. I had good friends, those things, but I was always fighting demons in my mind from a very young age.
Why do you think that is? Can you pinpoint that?
I suppose it's the environment, and we lived in relative poverty. Like we struggled. Yeah. Mum did her best, and we really struggled. And living in a place like Gisborne, it's sort of an affluent area. It's not rich, but it's not. It's a well-off type area, and we lived in a commission home, so government housing, and the houses were sort of dotted in Gisborne in different places, so they weren't. So there wasn't a big area where it was just put in between, and which is good and bad because it's good because you get to see the other side of people that are, the way they live and they have things and life's a bit different. So you get to see that. But on the flip side, and so it gives you hope of that for yourself. But on the flip side, people notice and you're very wary of the clothes you wear and the lunches you're taking to school and those sort of things. But I didn't realise, and Mum had me at doctors a lot and so forth, and we don't know exactly why, but my diagnosis at the age of 24, and it will quickly jump so that then you know what I'm talking about with mental health struggles. I was finally diagnosed with bipolar, OCD, and psychotic episodes with bipolar and anxiety and depression. So they're all diagnoses that I've at 24, but I didn't know this growing up.
When you were younger.
And I just had this inner turmoil that was always there from the age I can remember. I can't remember not having the emotional pain and everything was too big emotions, big thoughts, constant racing thoughts, always worried, always fearful, never content, never at peace. And so as school went on, those factors got big on me. I wanted better in life. I had this idea of a life I wanted. I wasn't going to smoke and drink because I saw so much of that. And I wanted to I wanted to be successful. I didn't know what that looked like, but I wanted that. And at the age of 14, I found alcohol, and alcohol actually gave me peace for the first time in my life, in my mind. Oh, wow. And everything stopped, and I didn't have this madness going on. And so sadly, I fell in love with alcohol and became my best friend and ended up being my worst enemy at the same time. Yeah. And then addicted till the age of 44, so 30 years of alcohol addiction and pain and suffering.
And we were talking about the football world then. That would have just fitted in fine. Like it wouldn't have been like, oh my gosh, alert, this. It would just be, this just a normal cultural thing. And that's the bad side of footy, I think.
And the hard part about alcohol is it's not just accepted, it's promoted, it's looked at in a good light. And So you can hide very easily. And when I got to the point, we can talk about later, of relieving myself of alcohol and breaking that addiction, it was very hard because it is everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't hide from it, and you don't have to go looking for it.
No.
It's right there.
No.
It's at every event you go to, and it was very hard. We've talked about it later, but so school, everything was going well, and 14 I found alcohol, and I sort of, it's like anything. At first, you think you got things under control. It was all good, and you don't, especially as a kid, you don't notice things falling apart. You don't notice the grades slipping. You don't notice things. And I prided myself on doing good at school, and I was always getting good marks. And then year 12, I actually failed, and I didn't tell anyone. Mum didn't even know, and a lot of people didn't know that I failed, and I kept that secret till only about 6 years ago. So
well done.
I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did that, but I did. But and the wheels started falling off, and then those dreams start disappearing. I had these dreams of success, and everything took a backseat, and like running was gone. I remember as a kid, only on reflection again, as you said, because someone asked me why I chose running when I chose to start change, and I used to run, and I only remembered after thinking about reflecting that I used to run out the front and I had a frontage at the house of 16 metres or whatever it would be, 20, and I used to sprint it, and I loved Carl Lewis, and I used to think, geez, I'm not far off his times. Like, I'd have just a clock. I'm nowhere near, clearly, but I had this dream, and I had this fantasy of being like Carl Lewis, and I like long jump and high jump and 100-metre running, and that was him. So looking back, I had all this, but then the alcohol and the way I was living took that all away slowly but surely, and to the point where I lost everything, including myself.
Wow.
So
how did that? So you failed year 12. Nobody knew. But so what did you do? What did you do with yourself from year 12?
I got a job with my stepdad at Ansett. Ansett Australia, which is it's no longer here. It's
those of you who've never heard of Ansett.
Ansett Australia, which is so I was an aircraft. I was avionics, so aircraft electrician, basically apprenticeship.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, good job. People used to say how good it is, but I went there and I did not enjoy it at all. It wasn't me. It was the same place every day. I was seeing the same people every day, and I needed back then just I just needed things to be happening different all the time. I needed things, not so much big change, but just not lost in something and just getting bored. So I finished the apprenticeship and got out of there, and from there I sort of just did jobs here, there and everywhere, and did a bit of concreting, a bit of pay TV, a bit of fixing coffee machines. I wasn't good at that, that's for sure. I had a couple of days on the back of a garbage truck running and throwing garbage in back in those days.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, just whatever I could do. But then I ended up getting a job as at Telstra at the age of 1999, so whatever that was, 24 years of age or something, 26. And I was there 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And, I enjoyed it up until it became all about numbers and stats and no longer about the customers. I shouldn't really say that, but anyway, that's what it was.
I'm not sure that anyone from Telstra
It's fine. It just moved away from what it used to be. It used to be really customer focused and all those sort of things. And I just lost the drive.
Definitely turned into a monolith. And I think I've even talked about Telstra as an example of like hard companies to be able to get one-on-one conversations.
It's just sad because when I first started, it was all about the customer, and But anyway, that's this day and age, isn't it?
So it is. What did you do with Telstra? Did you say?
Alignment. So fixing the internet phones. Well, internet wasn't around when I first started. I think it just started, and it was dial up. So we've come a long way, haven't we? And then
I can't do the noise.
Then ADSL coming out, ADSL, and it was. So I actually, but like anything, I always hid how I was actually feeling, and even friends that from past say I never knew what was going on for you. I hid it, and that's just the way it was. We always did that, and so what I did to do that, I always made sure I was the best or looked the best at what I did, so nobody could actually see what was really going on, and then I'd fall apart at home. So everything I did as best I could. So at Telstra, I was very good at my job. I was actually through all the stats and so forth, was rated number 1 in Australia as a linesman one of the years. So that was painful to continue to be like that. I was always trying to please everybody and make sure everything was perfect so no one saw what was really going on inside of me. So I just made this, like, I always looked good. I always had my hair done, and I always made sure I looked as best I could so that nobody asked questions. And I just hid and went it all alone, which now I tell people do not do.
No, I bet you do. Where did you go from Telstra? Did you say you left there about how long ago?
So at 44 years of age, I made changes in my life to go to start to live a different life in a different way, because my wife, Kerry, couldn't deal with what was going on anymore, and just said, I love you. I know your capabilities. I know what you're capable of, but you're not seeing it. And my drinking was heavy, attempts on life.
You can't hide that stuff from her at home.
No. So everybody else, that's exactly right. Nobody else knew what was going on, but at home, everybody knew. So very hard. And Kerry didn't get support herself because she was worried about what people would think about her and me and our relationship. And so I was up there drinking. I've always worked, but I drank heavily. And in the end, I was just drinking in the shed as often as I could. She was worried about my mental state and if I'd be alive when she'd come home. So she would come in and check the shed before she'd allow the kids in. Awful way to live.
So she's in flight or fight mode
absolutely.
all the time as well.
Protecting the kids, everything. And she'd go shopping and there'd be no money in the account, and she'd have to sit down the bottom of the hill because we lived 15 minutes out of town. She wouldn't go into town twice because we couldn't afford the fuel and stuff like that. And people didn't know this sort of thing, and she was loaded up. And what she was putting up with, I don't know why she did or how she did, but she saw something I didn't see. And so she said, I can't live like this anymore. We've done this for so long and I'm just not seeing change. And she'd said it before, but I knew this was real. And I'd made changes for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I'd revert back to same old. And I wanted better, but I just I didn't know how. And I always tried things, but I was so lost. And alcohol was my only way out, and I was hiding in that and getting relief from that, but it was also causing all the pain at the same time. So she said, I can't do this anymore. Things have to change, otherwise that's it. And I knew she was real this time. I knew something had to change, and I know now why I chose running. But I said to her, I'm going to give up smoking and start running. And I was a heavy smoker, 50 a day, a normal day, and then I sometimes double that on a weekend day, and with the amount of alcohol. So I was overweight. I was mentally unwell, probably at one of my worst states, and physically unwell, mentally unwell, and decided I'd quit smoking January 31st, 2017, start running Feb 1. And I remember it was almost 40 degrees, and we lived in the hills, and it's about 2.3 k's if I remember around the block, and it's hilly. And I ran the whole way as this overweight, very unwell person. And I got back, and Kerry was worried. She was going to call an ambulance because I was that bad. She said, I'm not sure this is a great choice. But something happened because I continued for the next 9.5 years, and I've been smoke-free for 9.5 years and alcohol-free for 8 years. Wow. 8 years, July 14.
Wow. That's really cool. I love that. That is so good. It must have been such a shock for other people to see the change.
Yeah, no one thought it'd last because I tried things before.
Yeah.
And like I said, 2 to 3 weeks. Like, as we know, motivation doesn't last long. 2 to 3 weeks and it's out. It's when then you've got to keep going before the habit of discipline steps in. So it was pretty tough times. And the change, like, from that day, there's been a lot of hard times. People don't realise when you change as a person, it changes the dynamics of the relationship. I start doing things I never used to do, and Kerry saw that as me taking over and going, hang on, you haven't been here for all this time and now you're doing this and taking my role. And so the dynamic, it's very hard. It's very hard, and we're still managing that now 9 years later. So it's not easy, but the thing I want to say is it's a lot easier than what was. like living the way we were, that was not going to continue. And change is hard, but it's easier than the alternative.
Well, people think as well from the outside that change goes in a straight line. But it just doesn't.
The amount of ups and downs, the arguments, the fights. Like, we keep it real too. There's no pretending. Like, because if you tell someone that change is easy and this is how it happens, and then they start and it's not easy for them, they go, well, I'm doing it wrong. I'm no good at this. I'm not doing it. You take that off the table for them. And I don't ever want to do that. I want people to know that, yes, it's hard, but it was so much harder living the way I was, like in pain every day of my life and causing pain to those I love. And then that guilt and shame drives addictions. Guilt and shame were the biggest drivers of addiction. So the more I drank, the more guilt and shame, the more I needed to drink. So when I first started drinking at the age of 14, it was to relieve myself of something, and the pain of emotional pain and thought pain. And in the end, I was drinking to relieve the pain that drinking was causing.
Yeah.
So I was using the thing. Yeah, and you just get I look at it now and go, that's just madness. But that's what happens. We get lost in it and locked in it, and we don't see outside of it. And that's why I teach people now the art of awareness and presence, because that gives you the ability to step outside of it for a minute and see it for what it is instead of being lost in it.
Because we get stuck in our own perception.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, of how things are.
Absolutely.
How come when you were, did you say 24 was when you got your diagnosis?
Yeah.
Sisters?
Yeah, diagnosis sisters.
How come at that point, why do you think, like when you got, well, number one, why did you get a diagnosis? Like, why did you go down the path that made that happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was with my ex. Similar, she like the way life was. Well, she just said we need to find out what's going on here. And when I got the diagnosis, it's a weird feeling because, like looking back, and it's hard to gauge what I felt and what was going on then. But I do remember thinking at least there's a reason behind all this madness that I'm causing. But it also gave me a label and directions to live by. And I did, and I was like the pin-up boy for those diagnoses, because whatever label I was given, I was already living many of it, but I just amped it up. And sadly, that because when you're given that, and I said this on other podcasts and other interviews and stuff, that when I was diagnosed, I was told that relationships are going to be tough, addictions are going to be part of life, holding down a job's going to be tough. I mean, it was hopeless.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it was hopelessness. Like, that's what I was told. So how are you going to live? You're going to live exactly by what you're told. And I'm telling people not to, and to take control of our own lives, because we need support by people, but we need to be taking ownership of our own lives and putting our own health and well-being in our own hands, and then getting support to do that. Don't put your health and well-being in other people's hands, because a lot of the people that are giving you the advice aren't doing well themselves and aren't really able to look after themselves. So take it back, take ownership, and that's one thing I did. Stop blaming the world and past experiences, because now I'm an adult. Those childhood experiences, they were there, and they were experiences that now have got me to a point where I am. I could have been held and lost in them forever like I was, and carried that forever and be living, maybe not even be living. And whereas now I see the same set of circumstances, the same experiences and events as the reason I'm where I am, and the ability to go forward with those.
They're the fuel that help you do what you do now.
Absolutely.
In many ways as well.
Yeah.
So, but at the point when you were 24, the diagnosis just became, I don't know, an excuse for you for why rather than a reason to make a change, you allowed yourself to be defined by those.
Absolutely.
Those diagnoses.
Well, you think about whatever's on a label, the directions on a label we follow. So I got the label and just that's what I went with, and I didn't believe there was any other way. And sadly, it's like anything. And I want people to know you don't have to wait till hardship or you hit rock bottom or whatever we want to call it to change. We can change any time, but sadly, most of us wait till we're backed into a corner before we fight, and when there's nothing left. But where is rock bottom? Have we defined that? Have we defined where that is? How far?
I don't think there's any limits in either direction. That's half the problem, isn't it?
So I think stepping into it now, like, don't wait. Don't wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow it doesn't happen. We just keep putting it off.
We've probably all got examples too. Something that's come to me now, I'm in getting towards my late 50s now, is that comes a little bit of wisdom, maybe.
Yeah, it does, I reckon. Yeah, for sure.
I think change can happen like that. And to me, that's such an uplifting thought that
Absolutely.
you can have a thought now that can erase all these things that you've built up in your brain about the way your life is in particular.
Yeah.
You can change that like that with
Yeah.
the right thought or with the right, it can be
And
that quick. It's just amazing,
and everything's
really.
perception. And like it's consistency, not intensity as well. And it's small things. Because if we try and change something massive, we're already telling ourselves and it gets overwhelming, and overwhelm causes fear, which causes us to do the things and go in the same patterns we've always done.
Back to your
And it's like
level.
It's like I said, when I first ran on that 2.3 Ks and how hard it was and how, like, I literally thought this is impossible. If I had an idea and had this big plan that I was going to run like I do now, 300 plus Ks in a run, and that was my plan, I would never have done it because it would have looked too big from that moment. But just stepping in consistently, we progress. And without even, it's like if someone tells me they're going to get up every morning and do 50 push-ups, I can guarantee within 2 or 3 weeks they'll be doing none. Whereas if someone said to me they're going to get every morning and do 5 push-ups every morning, I can guarantee with progression and with consistency and with habit formation and discipline as a habit formed, they'll be doing 50 in 6 months. Whereas the person who starts with 50 won't be doing any in 6 months.
Yeah.
So if we overwhelm ourselves, we're already telling ourselves a story that we're not going to get it done. But if we just step in and like the habit of running is formed by just putting your runners on. As soon as you've done that and walk out the door, even if you walk 200 metres up the road, and you commit to that every day, eventually you're going to be going further. So don't worry about getting out there to run. The habit starts putting the runners on instead of walking inside and sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
So it's those little things that I now help others with through my experiences of how to change habits and build habits and not overwhelm ourselves.
When you left Telstra, is this where did you go to?
So I took the voluntary redundancy, and they weren't real happy with that, and I fought that and got it. So that's another story. But yeah, so I'm probably not their most fondest person because they wanted to keep me. They didn't want me to go. But yeah, here we are. I won't go too much into detail there. But I got the voluntary redundancy after 19 years, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I started this online thing telling people to run and save your life, and I still have that page. And I do these.
By that point, by the time you left Telstra, you were running by that point.
So I'd been, I think it was about a year. It might have been nearly 2 years because I left Telstra 2019, I believe, and 2007, the end of 2019, if I remember, and 2017 is when I started running.
Okay.
So, and I'd also become a mental health first aid instructor. So I was doing little things in the mental health area as well and dabbling in that. And
growing.
Yeah. And it's been very organic and never planned. None of this has ever been planned. It's just, and that's what I mean. If you do one change, not only one change happens, it starts the ball rolling in a different direction. Change direction and change direction of your life in lots of ways. So, I started to do, from Telstra, I was already running. I was doing a bit of online stuff about running and doing some, I call them Friday rants, doing a bit of rant about my experiences. And then my wife and I started, we started every Tuesday. We got a little venue here in Traff. We went and sourced it. And every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month, we had a catch up around mental health and addiction. Mm-hmm. And that was it. Like we just thought once a month we'll do this. And from there it's grown into a community group to now a fully blown registered charity that we are involved in lots, and it takes me away from doing my own work and my own earning capacity, and I'm getting more and more in this. And then my wife's doing more and more work to fill that void.
Oh my gosh.
But I now work as a mental health advocate as well, and a NDI. I support people in NDI with mental health challenges, and that's my job. Yeah. And then we also do the charity where we have connection groups and barbecues and education and stuff like that. So
there's lots of crossover there, though, isn't there? It's not like you're doing a linesman at Telstra and then you're in the mental health space over here. It's like
but in between that Telstra and that, I did start my own little business doing. I called it Odd Jason's Odd Jobs. So, and then I employed my daughter for a little while as well, and we actually grew pretty big doing lawn mowing and just all odds and ends. And then this got bigger and bigger, and then I was called more to do the mentoring and life coaching stuff, and I end up just giving all my whole run to a funny story. A guy and his partner turned up at our house with cards saying, "Do you want your lawn mowed?" And I said, "No, I do that for a living. Thanks anyway." And he walked off, and Kerry said, "You want to get out of it? Why don't you give it?" So I ran up and said, "Hey, do you want all of my lawns? Like, do you want this?" So over a 2-week period, he took over all of what I had. So he hit the jackpot. He come for one lawn and got the whole. I think we had about 35 to 40 customers too.
Oh,
so
that's incredible. Well done.
Yeah, and that was it. Then I went, okay, now we're fully in this.
Now I've got no choice.
Yeah. So, and my wife is now through all this. Like, she had no idea of mental health challenges, no idea of addictions, nothing till she met me. So she got the jackpot there. But she's been the most supportive person. Like, I can't even explain how supportive. Like, very enabling too. And she enabled a lot of it until she learned. Now she's a fully qualified counsellor with a diploma, I believe. She's the charity head. She's works at the hospital. She's just everything. She's
it's your whole
operations
life,
manager at the football netball club. She's the coach of the junior netball, and
that's awesome. I love it. So it's been a life-changing period for both of you.
And we also, the good thing about what we do here, I share my experiences from a lived experience of living with mental health challenges and addictions. I don't tell people what to do. I just share my experiences and take it or leave it. And then my wife's professional with the counselling and those sort of things, but also the support person. She can educate and help people supporting people with mental health challenges, because there's not a lot out there for those people. So for her to be able to, we do a lot of guest speaking things around my story and her story as a support person. So it gives both sides very openly. So it helps others to not feel isolated and know that they're not alone and can talk about it.
Whereabouts do you live? I don't think you
Trafalgar.
I can say you keep saying Traff, and I was like, where are you?
Trafalgar. Sorry. Yeah. I'm talking as if you're the neighbour. Here in Traff. Trafalgar.
I know, you said Traff a few times, and I'm like, that actually sounds familiar. My brain was like, because I did year 11 and half of year 12 in Traralgon.
Oh, there you go.
So anyway,
there you go.
Why does it sound familiar? And that's why. And actually, that was a rude awakening for me, going from King Island being track and field champion to Lourdes Catholic College in Traralgon and thinking I was a gun runner. With I don't know, 100 people in the race with me, not just, 10.
Yeah. That's probably a good thing though, isn't it, as well? You go, wow, okay. Oh. There's others out there.
And then I think I also went to the netball state rep thing. Didn't get into that either.
That's all right. It's about trying, isn't it?
That's right, but I had to go.
These are all experiences.
I had to go. Yeah, that's right. And I think I'm a gun runner still.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's all that matters, isn't it?
In my head, it's my identity.
And if you love it, who cares?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I don't care.
kids. As long as you love it,
yep.
That's the first thing. That's the most important. Love what you're doing.
Exactly. It's true. How many kids do you have?
Between my wife and I, 7.
Good on you.
So we've got 3 together.
Age range?
I've got 2 previous and she's got 2 previous, and we've got 2 grandkids.
Awesome. Ages?
My
you don't have to go in the middle.
So my oldest is Erin, 33.
Yeah.
And then Jamie, she's 29. And then Montana is 27, going on 28, I believe. Keely's 19. Keely's 19. Where am I? Willow's 13, Ryder's 11, and River's 9. And then Van and Ray, I'll get this wrong, but I believe 4 and 2. Oh, I get that wrong, I'm in trouble, aren't I? Van and Ray, the grandkids. Van and Ray, the grandkids.
Girls. There was a lot of girls in there.
5.
Initially, yeah.
And then the 2 boys are the last.
Yeah, the 2 baby boys. Well, I've already met Ryder.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Ryder he felt pretty important too, don't worry about that.
That's good. He's that podcast will come out actually in the next few days, so that's exciting. Well,
he's brilliant, Ryder. And one, like I was talking about this about the other day, and kids do what we do. They don't do what we say. They're always watching. And my older kids, they had some troubles in life, and they're great now, but they definitely did. They saw Dad being a dick and making silly choices, and what you see, and my mum, I mimicked that. Then my kids mimic me.
Yeah.
And now the kids the younger ones, it's all running. And I don't know if you saw the other day, but the two boys said we want to do a backyard ultra. It was 10 to 2 on Monday, the public holiday.
Wow.
And I go, all right, I said, yeah, around the block. It's 1.2K around the block. Go around, 5 times and then 350 down and back, and that's your 6.7. And he had his watch on. Anyway, I said, you got 10 minutes till 2 o'clock. So time's ticking, get ready and you can go. Anyway, 2:02 they started. They did Rivers 9, Riders 11. They did 4 loops, so 27 Ks. And I pulled him up for 4 hours. River, 9-year-old, was pretty cooked.
I bet.
His previous best was last year during one of my challenges around the track. I did 80 Ks a day, 10 days in a row around the Astra. And he did 25. That was last year. And this year, so he's beaten it. And Ryder, so they both did 4 loops.
But Ryder was a bit older, so he was probably not as cooked.
Ryder, and I pulled him up at Luke 4. I said, that'll do. It's late.
Oh, that's so cool.
I didn't put that in them. They're watching what we do. So we've got to be very careful with what we're doing because they're always watching. Again,
that's something that's been quite common on the podcast where we talk about what it's like to be a parent of kids and what do we think about, how we're influencing them. So things like, not uncommon for my kids to see me get thrown out of the car to run home, but not because of domestic abuse, but because that's the only way I was going to fit my training in or whatever, or I would run to wherever we were going and my husband would pick me up halfway or whatever, But
we do that.
Yeah, exactly. Doing ways to fit stuff in. I mean, even today I had to, my kids aren't even at home anymore, but I had to Simon needed to get the car in to be serviced and I was like, but I needed to go for a run at that time. I can't. And then I said, well, I'll run home from, and then he drove the car, but we just worked out how to fit it in rather than.
Yeah, that's right. And instead of making excuses not to do it, we find reasons to do it in ways. And that's the difference. If you want to do something and people say, it's over the top. It's not like my theory in life is we have to do things in life we don't want to do. And that's just part of life, right? So do those things, but when you have things you enjoy, do as much of them as you can.
Yeah.
As much as possible. Do the things you enjoy more often. Yeah. And do it more often. My running, I don't let get in the way of the kids. I work around that, even with the new plan that I've got with the Crazy Run Man. He's got me on a coaching plan now, which I said I'd never do. I said I'm a freedom runner. I just run when I can. But I'm actually enjoying the change up, different paces and stuff like that. So it's always growing and learning. But with the kids, they're going to do what we do. They're not going to if we can tell them to a blue in the face to do something, but if we're not doing it, they're not going to do it. But if we're doing something, they'll do it.
Yeah. I think there's also something about their DNA. Like if they see their parents getting out and doing that kind of stuff, and then in the future, whether they decide they want to do it as a child or not, it becomes something in their toolbox. It's something I talk about on the podcast quite a lot. And because they go, oh, well, my mum or my dad runs a bit and I'm not feeling great maybe as an adult and I guess I could go for a run. It's an option for them. Whereas
I asked Ryder the other day, I said when we were doing, because I did the last 2 loops with him, and I said if I was still in the shed drinking heavily, because he started walking around at 2 years of age with an empty can and a stick as a cigarette. Like, and I used to laugh at it. Like, I look at it and I go, what am I doing? I said, if I was still doing that rides, do you reckon you'd be out here running doing a backyard ultra? He goes, Dad, I wouldn't even know what a backyard ultra is. Right. So what we do, they're going to follow, and I love it. I do. I love it. I don't know if I want him to do too much more at this age. I've sort of got to keep a lid on it.
You do. You got to be careful.
But I love the fact that they want to challenge themselves. But as a parent, we've got to also make sure that they're keeping that within the right limits as well.
Yeah, exactly. How can people find out more about what you do with your charity? Like, we can put a link in the show notes, but.
Yeah, our website's being built at the moment, so that it was there, but it's changed a little bit. So it's www.bettermental.com.au, but it's under repair or rebuild or what?
Under development or under
renovations. Renovations. Because things have just changed and evolved so much over the past 2 years. We had to just strip it back and sort of do it again. And like I said, we're a fully registered charity now, which has only been the last year, I think.
Yep.
So Facebook, Better Mental Australia Incorporated, that's Facebook. And then also Better Mental Together, which is another Facebook page where I do some rants and stuff. And then Instagram is Better Mental _Australia _Inc, I think.
Excellent. We'll put those in the show notes too for anyone.
They're the ways at the moment, yeah. And then I've got my running one, Jason _Stalwart _ Rantall, I think. Because the crazy runner man name is Stalwart. That's a recent name. So it's stuck. The Stalwart.
I love it. All right, now let's go back a little bit in your running journey.
Yep.
So you started running, it becomes a habit, and it's been a good habit because it's helped you give up alcohol and cigarettes? It's
been the catalyst to change my life. The catalyst, yeah, for sure. But at first it wasn't healthy. When I all the same problems.
So one addiction for another, just a
I did,
seemingly healthy addiction.
Yeah, but I don't see addiction as healthy in any way. Addiction's a bad habit. That's what an addiction is. So anything can become a bad habit if it takes you away from the people you love, if it causes you to feel guilt and shame if you don't do it. These are signs that it's not healthy. So, and at first, what I did is I ran to put pain on my body because I can take physical pain so much easier than emotional pain. You've got control over physical pain. I can stop running and it stops. I can take pain relief, it stops. Whereas emotional pain that I lived with all my life, I didn't know when it was going to end, if it was going to end, and I had no control over it in those times. I do now because I know different, but when I was lost in it for 44 years, I had no idea of how to get out of this and if it ever end. So physical pain's easy for me. Physical pain, bring that on. I don't. It doesn't fear me. It doesn't scare me. And I actually now I'm healthy with it. But before I'd actually put physical pain, self-harm on myself while I was running to take the thoughts and the emotions away. So that wasn't healthy at all. And I was also telling my family they had to wait if I was running, bad luck. That's not good. Then if I didn't run for any reason, I felt guilt and shame, which is not what you want to be feeling.
So were you just piling up a lot of Ks, or how was that?
For someone who'd never run, definitely. I didn't have fun. I didn't have watch phones I had my phone and I had an app called Run, and I used to hit that and that'd calculate. I looked at it the other day, it's still there, and I was doing a fair bit of Ks, but I wasn't into calculating. I didn't know anything about running. The first run I did, I put stubby shorts on, the blue work shorts, and a pair of these Dunlop, I don't know what they were, Dunlop KTX, I think they were.
So many people say Dunlops.
And off I went. And I was like, here I'm a runner. No. But I was just every time I felt emotional or thought pain and it got to be, I'd run. And I'd say to Kerry, pick me up at such and such, or I'd run and call her and say, pick me up. And I was just running away. I was doing exactly the same I was with everything else. It was avoidance. It was distraction. And I've learnt now that there's no peace or permanent peace or lasting peace in anything external of us. You have to find it within. And we all have the ability to do that. We've got to sit with ourselves to do that. And running's taught me that as well, because when you're running, there's no distracting from things. Like you can't grab a beer or a smoke or grab your phone and start scrolling, really. You're running. So you're with yourself. And to have a good relationship with yourself, you have to actually spend time with yourself. And I never did that. Every time I was by myself, I hated myself, I'd run or drink or whatever. So it was super unhealthy.
So when you were running, if you weren't, your thoughts were still like, because sometimes when you're running, your thoughts can get carried away as well. Like I've sometimes spoken to people who've said that, when I've gone for a run, I just couldn't turn my thoughts off. Like I wanted to be able to turn them off while I was running, but it actually just kept going.
Yeah. And if we tell ourselves we have to do something and we're doing it for that reason to stop it, you actually engage. If you try and stop thoughts, you engage them more because anything you're trying to stop.
On the top of your mind.
Oh, absolutely. So you're trying to stop it, it creates more of it. But what I will say is the way I did do it is I put so much pain on my body because I was so unfit and unwell that it was exhausting and painful from the minute I took off. So there was no room for mind. I was just solely focused on this pain in my body because it just took. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, okay.
My bones ached, my muscles ached. I was like, as a little bloke, I'm around 70 kilo now, but I was 99 kilo at the time, and I all I ate was 3 meals a day. I'd have Macca's, Red Rooster, and KFC, and I'd just rotate them, and like
All
six
right.
to eight Red Bulls a day, cigarettes, hot dogs, and
Oh my
that was my
gosh.
life. And then get home and drink and smoke like a chimney. So when I went out and ran, it was painful.
Ow.
So, but the funny thing with it is if you're consistent with something, you build a habit, and once it's a habit, it becomes easy to do. So even that became easy because as much as addiction, it became easy. It's like, so when I first stopped drinking, it was so hard and I didn't know if I'd ever be able to stop because that was my normal, and running was hard. So drinking was easy, running was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes a point when you stop doing one, the other one, and you do more of the other, there's a shift where one becomes easier than the other. So then running become easier than doing the drinking. Whereas now I couldn't even imagine drinking, whereas when I was drinking, I couldn't imagine running.
Yeah.
So see the shift. So there's a point where it changes and where one pathway becomes a lot easier than the other. And now I honestly couldn't imagine myself ever drinking, and I could not imagine myself not running.
How did you stop yourself being addicted to running? It's
just been an absolute process of the way I live.
Mm-hmm.
So because of running and my body wanted different fuels, and I started to eat. I went on a keto diet for a while. That was about 4 years I was on keto. But
didn't we all?
Everything was extreme.
Some keto
because I had extreme illness in the head and emotions that I went extreme everything else. That's not what you want to do. You want to step in consistently and slowly and change. So, but over the time now, or very organically, of like food changed, the connections changed, the people I was around and the things I was doing. I started getting involved with community. I started to do breath work and meditation that I said I'd never do. I'm religious now, which has been the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years. So things just started to change because I changed one thing and then other things changed. So, and with all these things with breath work and meditation, they actually allow us to go back to what we can do, and that's use our own internal system to find peace, not distracting and using external. Because like I said, everything external is only temporary. The new car gives you a fuzzy feeling for a while, it's temporary. The alcohol, it lasts a little bit of time and then causes pain. The chocolate, all these things are temporary, they don't last. Whereas when we could find inner peace, and the running's been huge with that, like I said, because spending time with myself, I started learning about myself and I had nowhere to run and hide. So now I'm spending time with myself. And the only way you can build a healthy relationship is by spending time with a person and treating them well and all these sort of things. So, and I don't believe you can truly love another person until you learn how to love yourself. You're always going to be looking for things to fill your voids in the other person and build those trauma relationships because you're looking for something in them that's not in you. Yeah. Whereas when you can find yourself and the true you and fall in love with yourself, which I never thought possible because I hated myself. I used to look in the mirror and hate myself with a passion. And I've had many attempts on my life, psych ward stays, hospitalizations, and I had a pure hatred for myself. Wow. And I've learned to forgive myself over the time of spending time with myself and doing the different things, and all these things have just evolved to now where I find inner peace, and I can sit here in this place where I'm right now and just sit here and meditate and be in pure serenity, whereas if I sat, I'd be bored and need to get up in the past. So in the same situation, same place, I found two different places. And people ask me, how can you possibly feel joy and peace and contentment just sitting in a room on your own? And I said, have you ever felt anxious and stressed and fearful sitting on your own? They go, all the time. I go, well, why can't you have the other? You can have the other, but you got to work on it. People say to me, I can't meditate. You can't because you haven't practiced it. Yeah. You can't do anything if you haven't practiced it. It's not possible. Yeah. Yeah. I can't run if I don't practice it, but it's got to be consistency, not intensity. Consistency is what builds disciplines and things that you're going to continue to do.
It's a practice, and the destination is not a thing. It's like you never get there. That's probably because
no, that's right.
Whether it's you said the acquisition of a new car or whatever people think it is, they think that's going to be their destination. But actually, as you pointed out, that's not the thing, and it doesn't last. It's very fleeting. But even when we're working on ourselves, it's not. You're not going to get there. It's just the journey.
Yeah, we live in a world where distraction's normal. And we've got to start to practice awareness and presence because we're not good at that, and we're not good at anything we don't practice. So being conscious is an art. Being present, like I know for me, Monday to Friday, I'd drive out the driveway to go to work that way, and it comes Saturday, and I'm meant to be going that way, but I'd automatically. I'm not actually driving my own life. I'm just in these patterns, and to get out of patterns, the habit mind, you have to be conscious. But we don't learn to be conscious and present. So running has started that art of being present and being able to bring myself back. And I think I spoke to you at the Backyard Ultra about when my brain starts to go to the chair and leave me and leave my body behind and try and be in this comfortable place when I'm uncomfortable, I bring it back and say, no, you're not leaving us. You get back here.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, because if we start to look at how far we've got to go, we start to make these questionable things in our head like, I don't think I can make it, it's too far. But if we can look straight in front of us and know that if we take that next step, we're going to get closer, and that next step's very easy to take. So look down and take the next step and the next step and the next step, and all of a sudden you're at the destination. It's the process that is the thing that we want to be getting involved in and not getting lost in the goal or the end goal, because the process is where it's built. If I don't have to worry about the goal at the end if I'm doing the process, because if I do the process, the goal's going to come. But if I'm solely focused on the goal, then I'm not even present when I'm doing the process. I'm constantly thinking of up there. So I'm not even here. I'm not even involved where I am. So bring it back to where you are always, and the goal will happen by just being in the process.
The fact that you even said bringing it back to where you are, then it just made me think about that I wanted to mention, and that is that forgiving yourself when you do that, because as humans, it's not perfect, and we're always going to be searching for that comfort thing. But it's acknowledging that, I did just, I don't know, like your example, I did just think about my tent and getting to the tent before.
Hey, I still do, but I
and
bring
that's
it straight
fine.
back.
Yeah, exactly. Just noticing it, and then maybe that is part of the awareness as well. It's that noticing.
That is awareness.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I did that. That's fine. Let's come back now, rather than staying over there, staying in that desire for that comfort bit, or whatever that thing, rather than being fully present in where you are. It's not easy to be fully present all of the time.
No,
in fact, it's
but it's a practice as well.
Exactly.
It is an actual practice. And the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Because when we're in our habit mind is just doing what we've always done, and we're not even there, where it's just happening. So to change, you have to be aware and you have to be present, because you can't make change when you're in a pattern of programming. So if you're, like, for instance, most people are 95% of their day in program mode, just going about their business, doing what they've always done. And if your program's good, hey, one year life's going to be good. But if your program's not healthy, like mine wasn't, then you're going to keep going back to those things if you're in that habit mind. 99% of the day I was habit mind, just going about the same old. And the more I became aware and the more I was present and the less I was habit, then the more I can change and the bigger changes in my life happened. And now I'd say I'm probably present 80% of my life, and 20%, like, obviously your subconscious walks and does all the things. You don't have to think about that. Yeah. And once your subconscious mind's set, it does it automatically, like riding a bike or driving a manual car. You have to think about it for ages, and then once your body's an extension of your subconscious mind, because your body and your subconscious work together. So once you know it, you know it. But to undo that is difficult. It is difficult because change, you have to be present.
Again, it might go back to being old. Yeah, this is true. This is stuff that I've been studying for years as well. You probably know that. But I have moments sometimes in the car where I go, oh, I've forgotten how to do that. Not forgotten, but it's stuff that we know automatically, but for whatever reason, something else has been, and it might be because my head is full of other stuff and I'm not being present in the car, and I'll be like, oh, where's the brake? And I sound really senile now. But every now and then you just have that moment and you go, oh, this is something I do every day. Why am I not doing it on autopilot all of a sudden? But it's probably because my brain is so full of
You probably stepped in. It's like running. If I allow myself to just run without stepping in, then my body does it, my breathing does it. If I start to try and think about my breathing, I start going, oh, my God, am I doing it right? But you already know how to do that. It's like if you forget your PIN number to go at the ATM,
yes, right, and you're another good example.
But if you just log out of that and walk up to the ATM, you'll automatically just push the buttons because your subconscious will take over. But if you start thinking about it, you'll forget. So our subconscious is meant to serve us, right? It's meant to be good. But if you're it's meant to be able to do the walking while you're doing anything else and the things that automate to make life easier. But we use it for all sorts of things to take us to bad places and addictions and all these things that addiction, like I said, is just a bad habit.
Yeah, very true. All right, tell me. I want to go back to your running. Tell me about you. Tell me about like events. How did you get into so you do all this running for yourself,
Yeah.
and it helps you quite a lot, especially once you establish that you don't need to be addicted to it, but it's a really good thing in your life.
Yep.
You start joining events. How do you realize other people run too
No.
and you want to be part of it? I don't know.
I didn't join events until really late. I created my own. And looking back, it's because of that fear of I could only connect with people when I'd been drinking because that's all I ever did.
Yeah.
And I'm actually by nature very introverted. I like my own space, but when I drank, I was just out there and very vocal and
yep.
So I'm still very similar now. When I'm in a situation like coming to the hub and we have 50 people here having a barbecue on that, I know the situation, we're talking, we're engaging, I know, right? But if I step into a conversation unknowingly or unwittingly, it's very difficult for me still. I'm still learning that how to have a conversation. But like this, I know what we're talking about. I'm very comfortable with it, right? But I avoid things still, and I'm working on that. When I see someone, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to start the conversation, and if it's not a topic already, what am I going to say? What am I going to fill with? And I'm not one for small talk, and I'm not one for that, so I've got to learn better. And my wife even says, "You never asked me how my day was." I go, "Well, you'll tell me if I need to know." Like I've got to get better at these things.
It sounds like my husband and I. Whenever he's just been with someone, I'll be like, "So did you ask about?" And it'll always be something like that. No. How was their day? Are they okay with their kid? I don't know. Yeah. I didn't ask any of that.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
and this is it's not cool, but yeah, I'm not really good at it. It doesn't mean I don't care. It's just that not something that I've practiced that I do need to get a lot better at.
Awareness is halfway.
So I just started doing all my own challenges. So very early on, like I went from just doing a few Ks to really run a lot, and within it was about 18 months. I decided I was going to do a run from Kyabram, where I was born, out front of the hospital on my birthday, and run to where we are now. And we had a little shop, mental health thing going on then already. And I was going to run through all the towns I lived in and offload the baggage. It was 422K, so 10 marathons a day for 10 days. Right?
That's so cool.
And I did it. And I got it done. And a funny story was my wife sent me she didn't look, but I was in Kyabram, mates come up, they will support me along the way. We got the motels as we were going, so we didn't even plan it, we just turned up. And she sent me this thing about 4 guys running this 10 marathons in 10 days, but she didn't read it. And so I read it, and it was all about how hard it was, and only one of them out of the 4 made it, and they were top runners, and they had medical problems, and I'm going,
oh my God!
I rang. I said, "Did you actually read this? Like, are you trying to
distract you?
Trying to sabotage?" Anyway, I got it done, and that was probably my first. And I also, I don't know if it was just before or just after that, I did do the 60K ultra marathon at the Great Ocean Road, and I've been back and done that twice. Amazing run, but. It's been a lot of my own challenges that I've done, and it's to raise money and awareness around charity. So another run I did was 100 days of 35Ks a day for the 3,249 lives lost to suicide in Australia in 2023, I believe that was. Wow. And then recently I did 801Ks around a track, which is the 801 lives lost to suicide in Victoria in 2024. So that was around the track, and they're charitable things, and we raise money for what we do, and we get the conversations happening. And we had about 700 people turn up at the track over the 10 days and run awesome. That. So yeah, that was one of the tougher events. But and I didn't get into backyards or any of that. And Paul Pratt, Pratty.
I do.
Man.
I literally just did his episode the other day. He's like full episode.
Well, he kept telling me, he kept saying, Jace, you got to, because he's from around here, and we've known each other for a fair bit of time. And he sees what I do, and he goes, "You've got to do this, Jace." Another one I did was 221 Ks over 221 Ks. It took me 31 hours, I think, around Traff, 1K loop, round and round and round. So just things like that. But and he said, "You got to do this backyard ultra thing." I said, "Nah, not for me. I'll just do my own things and a couple of marathons here and there." no, come on, you got to do it. And it took, I think it's been 3 years he'd been, or two, maybe 2 or 3 that he'd been hounding me.
You.
Anyway, the first year he did Wild Dog Backyard Ultra, he said, you got to do it. I said, no, I've got something else on. So, which I did. And there's another guy, Matt Veenstra, who was trying to get me to do the GSER 100 mile as well for like 4 or 5 years. And I kept, maybe 4, I kept going, yeah, well, finally did that last year as well. But it took me a long time. But Praddy, I said, all right, I'll do it. So I did the first Backyard Ultra. I succumbed to him because he said, you're right up your alley, Jason. I said, all right. So I did the one last year. That was my first Backyard Ultra, and I got the assist, the very first one.
Wow.
And that elevation's like 140 per loop. So it's pretty flat, 138 or something like that. To Barry Keane, what a great man, Barry. But, yeah, that was my first. So and I had no idea what I was doing. None. I just had a bunch of food and rolled up and away we went. So, yeah, it felt good. And then Sean Kiesler said about straight after he said about giving me free events to each one because he was happy with what I'd got done. And so I signed up for WA about a week later and then went, geez, what am I doing here? WA's a long way. So, yeah. So I've done 4 now, but I was very reluctant to do anything. But now I'm in love with it. Purely because community, connection, movement, it's an amazing community of people supporting each other. Like it's exactly what I talk about here in our mental health place and space about what works, and they're doing it there. So why wouldn't I get involved?
It's
been a long journey to get there. So
it is such an unusual. That's right. Well, thank you, Paul. It's such an unusual format, that whole everyone getting together at the start of top of the hour every hour. Just
like the tents and everybody's in a close vicinity. It's all like we're at Better Mental. We're doing a fundraiser in October, and it's a 24-hour event around the footy oval, where teams come in and you're allowed to have up to 10 in your team. You pay for an entry, and then it's all about mental health and stuff. And you can have 10 on the track, but you have to have at least one for the whole 24 hours to stay in. So that's in October. So we'll be putting that out there soon, and that'll be a charitable thing. So I hope to get a lot of people involved and raise funds and awareness around mental health. But they're the sort of things that I love. And this is so similar. It's just people around people. There's competition, obviously, but the majority of it is helping each other go as far as you can. And that, if we can do that in life and take it from the track and take it from the course at the Backyard Ultra, and continue to live that way and help your mates up and be there for them and support them, then we're winning. So
totally.
We don't want it just to be at the 6.7K bloody Backyard Ultra, Frontyard Ultra. We want it to be in life. So take what they're doing there, bring it to life, because there's a lack of connection in communities now, and that's why we do what we do and bring people together.
I think there's something that Sean's pulled together, not just in the Backyard Ultras, but even in, because I've done the 200 miler in Western Australia, Delirious. And I find that it's the community on the trails as well, that because you're all out there, and it's a bit like the Backyard Ultra in that you're out there supporting each other.
Absolutely.
There's that kind of vibe.
Same thing, yeah. But I think the thing that I love about the Backyard Ultra, like out on any of those runs, even in marathons, like people are cheering you on. They're not leaving you behind.
No.
There's those that are trying to win it, and fantastic. That's their thing. But so many others are just there for themselves and to help others. Not there for themselves, sorry, to help others and cheer each other on. And you see it all the time. People picking each other up. Come on, you can get there, especially near the finish line. Because as you know, when the finish line comes, it doesn't matter if it's an 8K, 10K, 50K, 100, whatever. When your mind and body gets close to the end, everybody starts falling apart because they've got to where they plan to get to. Yeah. And it just wheels. So people are just cheering each other on, dragging each other along. And that's what I love. So the GSER was the same. But I think the difference with the Backyard Ultra is you got that crew there with a whole range of people in a huge tent city like you're out camping.
It's amazing.
She's got a vibe.
It is amazing. And Sean rang me last week. There's some pretty amazing things happening next year for the 2027 Melbourne Frontyard Ultra.
I love what he does.
So I'll be there as a race director. I don't think I'm going to run another one. I did one here in Tassie last year. And personally, for the format for me, I just hate being told what to do. So get in the corral and do this and stop running and start running again. I'm like, no, I just want to keep going or whatever.
But the good thing is that you're going to be there in a different form.
Yes.
And it's still part of the community.
Oh, yes.
That's what I mean. There's so much more. You don't have to run. Like,
even as a race
how
director.
cool are the crew?
Oh, they're amazing.
How cool are the crew?
Yes.
They're there given their time. And sadly, like some of us, I got a bit angry at times but you're not directing it at them, but to them. But yeah, sometimes it comes across
because you're human.
Yeah, I'm pretty good most of the time, but when the wheels start falling off, things start.
I think actually, I was editing your episode the other day. There's a bit where we're trying to get you to eat a donut. That I happened to be hanging around, so that was quite funny. So hopefully people can pick that up. Did I say
something like stick your donut?
Something like that. You're like, there were some interesting words used. So it would be funny to see how that happened. I also did an episode called Behind the Yards, which is a whole bunch of little bits and pieces that I picked up just walking around talking to the crew, as you said, and some of the other race directors and just some of the volunteers who were like the guy going around on the bike and somebody just dropping off food to put into the aid station, like a random lady who was just, bought a bunch of slices and soups and stuff just because they wanted to. So like you said, it's not just the runners out there. There's a whole lot of stuff going on where community, which is very community building.
It's life in a small area. Like all the things about life go on. It's about giving and helping and supporting. But we need to get better at doing that outside of that because we get so lost in our own world when we're outside of things like that. And we've got to actually think to go, hey, why aren't I connecting? Why aren't I communicating? Why aren't I getting out there and doing something? So that's the whole point of why we do what we do here at Better Mental with ours is to bring community together and create those connection points and have a place for people to come to.
So it's hoping that outside the events and even your place there, the hub, that people continue that in their daily lives.
Absolutely.
Ways to do that.
Yeah.
So what motivates you to keep moving, to keep running? Like, because some people it's like I enter marathons or I enter, 100 miles or whatever, and that keeps me training. It keeps me out the door. Yeah. But I don't know that that's your motivation unless you tell me otherwise.
No, it's not. No. And like I said, I didn't do any of these things. So, and my thing is, and going back to it, I love the process. Like more than I don't care about the goals and achievements. Like if I do really well at the Backyard Ultra, great. If I don't care. When I'm in something, I'm in it. When I'm out, I'm out of it. But running something that I just love, like that's why I was reluctant to do a training plan because I was thinking it might take away the love and I'd have to be out there. And I just do it because I genuinely have an absolute love for getting out there, being part of outdoors, and it actually gives me good health and I'm better for my family, I'm better for everybody. I mean, I love doing it, so of course I'm going to be better. So, yeah, my drive is just probably also to see how fit I can get, how healthy I can be, and be the very, very best version of myself. That's probably it. And it's not about chasing goals and or any of that. But they come anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
you get little achievements along the way.
Yeah, and they come because I put the work in and love it. But and I'm a true believer, and I tell my kids the same, that if you do what you love and have fun doing it, then you're going to win no matter what, because winning is not about winning at the end post. It's about winning in life and feeling good about what you're doing. So, and I truly believe that if you start putting too much pressure on yourself, it takes away the joy, it takes away the fun. And then what are we doing it for? Like, I don't want them to do that. The number one thing is have fun. And when you're having fun, you're more relaxed. You're going to do it better anyway. When you start putting stress on yourself, you're anxious, you're not at your best, you can't be. Your thoughts aren't where you are. You're not present. You can't be your best when you're not present. So having fun ensures that you're present because you're not going to have fun otherwise. Yeah. So I never want to take, if my training or anything ever takes away the fun factor or any of these events ever take away the fun, then I'm out. I'll just go run on my own out in the middle of nowhere. And the only reason I share what I do is because I want to help people to see that they can be better in life. And that's it. I don't do it for any other reason other than that, and just sharing those experiences in the hope that it helps someone else. And I know it does because the messages I get around that. So if it wasn't, I wouldn't bother sharing. I don't really care for that stuff, but it helps people. So why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly. Passing it on, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? Passing
So
on what you've
I
found
don't
in
need
running.
challenges. I don't need challenges to keep going. I do it because I just love doing it.
Mm. You found the joy in your running
I don't feel
activity.
I have to do it. I don't
Mm.
feel like it. There's every now and again I get out and go, like on Sunday. Perfect example, if it ever got too much, is I had 40 Ks on Sunday with Crazy Run Man's program, and I was feeling sick, and I just thought, and I went and did it, and I'm thinking, what am I out here doing this for? I want to be out here, but you've got me on this program, so I'm giving it all a go. But if it ever got to a point where that was all the time and dreading doing the 40 on a
Yeah.
Sunday, then I'd just strip it back and do it.
Mm.
Because I'm not going to win Olympics. I'm 53 this year. So I'm not doing it to be the best. I'm doing it to be the best me, not the best above anyone else. I'm not competing with anyone else. I'm just competing against, not even competing against me, just thriving to be my best.
Yeah, or just,
in all ways.
Better than you yesterday, perhaps.
Yeah,
depending
better
on
at
what
giving,
moment. Mm.
better at giving, better at forgiving, better at loving, better at caring, better at running, better at family, just better at life. That's why I do it.
I often, because I get to talk to people all the time about their running on the podcast, it makes me reflect on mine and like why do I keep running after all these years? And especially after, so I'm not going to be any faster than I was in my late 20s when I was and at high school when I was at my peak.
And King Island when you were the best.
That's right, exactly. I was actually all right in my late 20s as well. I was actually quite fast, but whereas now I'm not, and I'm happy with that. But my new thing is my limits, and I don't think I have any. Like it's that, and for me, it's the distance. It's not a speed. I just, at the moment, that's one of the things that gets me out the door is trying to work out how far can I go. And I truly believe there is no actual limit. I think it's really cool. Like that's right. I don't think there's a limit. There's a limit maybe today. My limit might be a number, but in the next few days it could be different because I'll get up and I'll feel different and whatever, and my body will be different.
But that translates.
I love that.
That translates into life too, though, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
If you're doing that out there, that actually translates, I want to do better in this, and this. Yeah. And you do become better at those things. And like you said, I'm actually enjoying this speed stuff because I was very just the same pace all the time. I just go out there and enjoy. I just looking around and enjoying life. Look at me.
That's
I'm
right.
like
Take a photo.
living the dream out. Because I don't listen to music either. I'm just raw. I have the earphones in. Especially now because my phone, it talks to me to tell me what pace I'm doing and stuff, which is weird. But through the program that Jack's got, but also if my wife wanted to ring or whatever, I had the earphones, and I always had this carrot that if I get to this point, I'll put the music on, but I never do. So I just raw dog. So I just go out there and do it like that. So it really is just about being present and enjoying part of it. But I'm enjoying the speed side of it with Crazy. Like I feel free and I feel stronger, and I didn't know I could go as quick as what my little legs are running. So
it's interesting, isn't it?
It's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah. I love sprinting.
Yeah.
Until the lactate happens. I'm like, now I wanted to stop. But it's fun at the same time.
But how cool is it? I'm being challenged again in a different way because I've allowed Crazy to be part of this and help me. And now I'm finding I can run faster than I thought I could.
Very cool. I love it.
And I'm feeling like, look at me, I'm like a little kid again.
I know, it's like jumping puddles.
Bring on Carl Lewis.
I love it. I mean, and why not? Really? Why not? There's only limits we put on ourselves, as I said before. There isn't any really. So I love it. It's exciting. When do you think you first called yourself a runner? This is something I ask everybody on the podcast.
It's funny, the other day, I actually when I started when I got a coach, Jack, 3 weeks. It's only been 3.5 weeks. I actually said yes. I actually put on Strava. I've got a running plan now. I'm a real runner. So I don't like to identify myself as anything because it's just something I do. Mm-hmm. Running, because I think if we identify ourselves as something, when we lose it, we lose part of who we are. And that can be very dangerous.
Oh my gosh, have you listened to this podcast before? That's kind of where I go from the identity question when you call yourself a runner.
Yeah, no, because I find like I identified myself as an alcoholic, so I lived by that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you see people that identify themselves as the job they do, and then they retire and they lose everything because they identify themselves as that person, as that worker. You ask people who they are, and they'll tell you what they do. No, I didn't ask what you do. I asked who you are. And they say, I'm a this.
Yeah.
No, who are you? You're not that. Yeah, that's part of what you do. So I don't like to identify myself as anything. I'm Jason who runs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm separate to that because if I lose that, because I could lose that, like who's to say something happens where I can't run? And one day it's not going to be there. So I don't like to identify myself as anything other than Jason, and this is what I do as part of that.
Sounds like an Alcoholic Anonymous thing. My name's Michelle, and I am a person who likes to be healthy, and I like to do that as a runner at the moment.
But yeah, I just don't like to get lost in it because it's not who I am. It's part of what I do, but it's definitely not who I am solely. So, but I did say to Jack on Strava, I'm now a runner because I have a coach and a nutritionist. Maybe that's when
you've got a support crew.
Yeah, the support crew, like hello, but because I've got Jess. Jess is a friend of mine, and she
nutritionist.
She's a gym. She's an amazing person. Like her own life story and her transformation is next level. Like where she's come from, where she's now. But and her ability and willingness to give back to people is unbelievable. So she's come to me and said, Jason, I do a bit of nutrition stuff now. To become a nutritionist, I'm interested in getting involved and seeing what I can do for you as a runner because I don't have runners. I have other athletes. I said, cool, let's do it. So we catch up every Tuesday, and the changes are huge. Like I was having nowhere near enough protein for the amount of run I was doing for muscle repair and stuff, and that's been huge. And then to add Crazy in, and now he uses Jess as well. And I won't name other runners, but they can talk themselves. But there's other backyard ultra runners out there that have got on the Jess wagon.
Pointing at you.
Also on the Crazy Running Man wagon. Why wouldn't you? Like Crazy Running Man, he walks the walk. So you're going to get on that wagon, ain't you? And Jess, like amazing. Like the results she gets from in the other sports. And now she actually goes and does backyard ultra seminars and stuff to learn more. And she's bought a salt testing unit to put on me she's got all scientific on me. So maybe I am a runner now. At 50, nearly 53, but it's just fun. I'm really enjoying it and being around the people that want to take you further and help you thrive. Support. Because I'm a big believer that if whoever you hang around with, the 5 people you hang around with most, if you hang around with 5 smokers, you'll become the 6. 5 drinkers, you become the 6. 5 runners, you become the 6. So yeah, and it doesn't mean not to have the other people in your life because I still have a lot of my old friends in my life and I love them. Yeah. But I just don't do the same things as I used to with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So be careful who you're getting around and the people in your corner.
We didn't talk about that, but that in itself is quite difficult. You know, when you've changed your habits so much.
Absolutely.
And your old friends they're still friends, but and they probably wouldn't even have realised that they enabled that to a degree just because of that. You know, when you see them, that's what you do. You know, that's the kind of thing. So that's always the really hard part, I'm sure.
It was, and I spoke to good friends understand that. It's the ones that don't want you as the new person. You don't want them in your life anyway because they were there not for good reasons. But the friends good friends that are still there and they're still living the life they were, some of them, but they're more than happy to support me in what I do and never, ever talk down about it. It's always there for me whenever needed. And that's all you can ask. And I'm not telling people to change their lives. It's up to the individual, but I just share my experiences and in the hope that will ignite something in them. But I think the main thing I do it for is because I had no hope when I was diagnosed and I had no hope because of what I was told. And when you have no hope, you get lost. Yeah. So I want to really give hope to people so that then when people see hope, they usually will grab onto that and do it for themselves.
That's awesome. How long do you think you'll run for? You non-runner running person?
I think until it doesn't feel fun anymore, I suppose. So, or my body says I can't. Those two, but I think forever until I literally can't. But anything can change. But yeah, at the moment, I love it that much that it's like
you're like a kid in a lolly store.
Yeah, I can't see it ever ending, because if you love something so much, why would I stop unless I had
Exactly.
to? So, I mean, it'll change like it
Yeah,
has.
exactly.
Like
Yeah, well.
I want to run around Australia for the charity and go and do mental health talks out in the outback and remote sort of places around mental health and addictions, and that's a big dream of mine to do that. So hopefully one day, and it nearly happened. I won't talk about it too much, but a company asked me some questions, and we got involved about it, and it looked like it might happen, but it's sort of fizzled out. I haven't heard back, but that's the sort of thing I want to do. But everything's still going to be centered around the support of others and helping others live better lives. And I want to be known here at Better Mental as a mental health and wellbeing, not a mental illness place, but a place of wellbeing, because we want to focus on the things to do to have wellbeing. There's certain things you do in life, and if you don't eat well and you have the wrong connections and you're sitting around doing nothing and all that, they lead to a place, and it's not a good place. Whereas if you do the good things and the healthy things, they lead to another place, which is a better place to be. So what we do really matters, and the things that we listen to, the things we do, the thoughts we have, and all those things really matter.
We put in.
Yeah, I really want to continue the running in that sense as well, but I also want to keep my running separate to charitable running, because otherwise I don't. I want my own thing as well, and that's why Backyard Ultras, there's no charitable, there's no fundraising, no. That's me doing what I want to do. And then I do the other challenges around the mental health stuff.
What runs do you have coming up for yourself?
I got Reds, which is cool. So that's August 1. So that's the training I'm doing at the moment, really focused and dialed in on that. I've got a 24-hour run, like I said, with our charity, Better Mental. But I also got Chris Dixon. I don't know if you know Chris Dixon. He just ran for Australia in the 24.
Chris Dixon I need to go back to him. He said he was going to come on the podcast because we did a training. I'm also an ultra running coach. We did a coaching thing together. Anyway, so yes, I do know Chris because we were in the same cohort. So I need to go back to him.
He reached out to me, which I was chuffed, because I've been watching his run, and he's elite. And he reached out, and I get these moments. It's like if I get a friend, like if someone follows me that's pretty cool, like, oh, look at that. I'm like a little kid, like fanboying.
That's awesome.
So Chris was one of those ones I was watching and admiring, fanboying from a distance. And then he reached out about his charity run with Helping Hands. So that's near the end of October. So I've said yes to that. But the week after that, I'm meant to be doing King of the Hill. I'm sorry, I got. You know, when because I watch all these things and I love it. And King of the Hill, and they had the sale on, and they get it quick, and they're going to sell out the first blah blah blah. And by the second day, I signed up, and then I went, what do I do? It's not even something I'm that interested in, running up and down the hill. But anyway, so I've got those coming up. But other than that, and the Halora Marathon, we've got a local event in December, amazing event. They raise money for the Peter McCallum Centre, Cancer, and it's friends of mine that live locally, and it's run in Warragul, from Halora to Warragul, and it's all about, again, community connection. It's local. The events are made. It's grown hugely. Like, the numbers are massive now. And Better Mental are also the water station. So we're a water station sponsor.
That's cool.
So our guys get there. It was the first time last year in tutus and danced. And, so that was pretty cool, and have some tunes going. So that's a big one for me, because it's local, and I love them and what they do, and to support that and the initiative and cause that they're doing. So that's a definite in December. I won't miss that. So anyone else, there's tickets for that. But other than that, I just sort of play it by ear. I'll see how the body pulls up after Reds. I'd like to do GV again. I really enjoyed. Yeah, it's pretty close though. It's only about 5 weeks or something. I'm good at punishing myself. I do a lot of these now, but that might be the last one, I think, too, because the organiser there isn't doing it anymore, and I don't know if someone else has latched onto it or not. But I'd like to do that. Just depends on how body pulls up.
Yeah.
And then I'll be crewing for the crazy running man at the SAT Champs in October.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
With others, but how far that man can go, who knows?
Well, that is a mystery. Huh?
We're going to see. We're going to find out.
Oh, that's
October.
exciting.
It's the second weekend of October, so this
okay.
9th, I think. That's the SAT Champs. So that's exciting, isn't it?
That is exciting. It sounds like you've got quite a calendar full before the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's because I've been running as an adult since my mid-20s. It's so much. It's changed so much. Like running used to be, you'd run a 5, you'd do some fun runs, then you would go to a 10, and after a few years you might do a half marathon, and then somebody would go, "Do you reckon we could do a marathon?" And that after 10 years of running, sure, let's do it together. I don't think I could do it. So then you do then you do a couple of marathons, and you never think about doing an ultra. But if you did, maybe you do a 50K. Now I'm an ultra, Whereas now I talk to people on the podcast, and so, all the things you've just told me you're going to be doing in the next few months, I'm like, oh my God. And I don't say only, but you've been running 9 years or something? It's it's so different. Like people, because back then it was like, you can't, you just can't.
No.
You can't run. Like you can't do more than 1 or 2 marathons a year, let alone
I remember a guy telling me he did 21 Ks. Listen, I heard it I think it was on the radio actually. He ran 21 Ks every Sunday or something and did 10 Ks a day. And I'm thinking, no way, this guy's got to be long. And now, but it's even on Sunday, I ran a marathon as a training run. That doesn't even make sense back to the person when I started. If someone had told me that when I first started, I go, you are a lunatic.
It's crazy. And maybe that goes to the limits stuff I was talking about before. That we've put these kind of limits on it. And actually the reality is the human body is capable of a lot more than it individually as well. And
it's when people do it opens a pathway for others, because about the mile, the fastest mile, the performance mile, that was told. It was even assumed that your heart would blow up and you wouldn't make it if you tried to do it. One guy, and it was never done, and then one guy did it, and from then on everybody did. Not everybody, but so many people do it.
Yeah.
So once someone breaks the limits, it allows it for others to jump in. Believe.
Yeah.
Believe.
It's true. I love
so
that.
Set your own. Don't set limits. Just allow yourself the space to do anything.
That's so true. Anyway, if you hadn't started running, Jason Rantall, what do you think your life would be missing now? So what's it given your life, to put it from a positive perspective, that wouldn't be there otherwise?
Better mental, our charity. My wife and family wouldn't be there, I don't think. But from a positive outlook, there's no way that I'd be this charitable organisation would be as it is. Yeah. So to be able to give back to people now the way we do, I don't think it'd be at this capacity. Yeah. So
you think your life the way it is would, well, it wouldn't be. Life would not. And
no.
The impact. It's the impact is probably really important element.
Yeah, because running's not the only thing that has got through where I am, but it's the catalyst that started. So would something else have got me to where I am? I don't think so, because running's been so big in changing me internally as well as physically. So the internal changes, you can see the physical changes and the distances that I run and stuff like that, and that's tangible. We can see that. But the internal growth due to running is so much bigger than anyone can ever see and imagine. I can't even – running saved my life, as simple as that, and it's been the catalyst to where I am today. Absolutely. And saved my marriage and everything.
You're thanking running for almost everything in your life.
Absolutely.
Really, that's what I'm saying.
Without it, and even looking back on reflection, like I said, and because someone asked me only last year, mate, it wasn't even that long ago, and why did I start running? I never knew. And then I just had this thing. What do you mean you never knew? It was, as a kid, we don't do things that we don't want to do unless we're forced to, right?
Exactly.
So if kids are doing something, playing with balls or running, that's something they love. It's in them. It's part of who they are. So as a kid, I ran and I loved running. I did it voluntarily. So I forgot about that. But my internal system hadn't forgotten about that. Yeah. So when I had to make a decision, it was instant. I just said, I'm going to stop running, stop smoking, start running. Like, that's madness. But looking back all those years ago in reflection, I loved running as a kid.
And it's such a simple. That's one of the reasons I love it. I'm quite a simple person, really. Like, it's just simple. Like, you just put a pair of shoes on. It's almost accessible to everybody. In fact, most people in the world are irrelevant of their financial or whatever, wherever they live, runs or can run. You know, they run to catch the bus or run away or whatever. They just run. Like, running is part of being human.
Yeah, and you can just go there and do whatever you want. You don't have to run 5 or and that's what I want people to know. Don't look at anyone else. Well, big thing I tell my kids and everybody I speak to is be yourself, because it's a superpower. If you can be yourself, your unique self, no one else can be you. They can be a very poor imitation, and you can be a very, very poor imitation of others, but no one can be you. And that's our superpower. So be you and do you. Don't try and outdo someone else, and don't do it to beat someone else, because if you're doing that, you do it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Do it to be the best version of yourself and to challenge yourself to go as far as you can. And if you do the best, you be yourself, do your best, then that's all that you can ask of yourself. And then you can't be disappointed. Yeah. You can't. How can you be disappointed by doing your best and being yourself?
Exactly. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Jason, thank you. A couple of things before we wrap it up, because you've already inspired me beyond what you needed to. So thank you for that. You're very, very inspired. Is there anything about running that we haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about? So that's kind of an open-ended question. Or have we kind of, through our conversation, covered all of things?
I think it's just more about going back again, enjoy. Like, and don't get me wrong, at first it's not. If it's a change, it's not going to be enjoyable. It's not. It's change. No change. We don't enjoy any change because it's different than what we normally do. And it's uncomfortable. So, but if you persist at it and you give it a go and you're consistent, because what happens is with anything change, running or whatever you do, the first 2 to 3 weeks, there's motivation. You get motivated, you pump yourself up, and it's all good. And motivation, and it's known that only lasts 2 to 3 weeks no matter what it is, right? So once motivation ends, then there's a gap before the habit and the discipline becomes a habit, right? So there's this gap of pain. No motivation. Why am I doing this now? And then before it becomes part of what you do and part of yourself and your personality, there's a time period. So if you can last after the motivation and allow that habit to fit, now you're doing it out of habit, and it's easy once it becomes habit. So keep stepping in when it's hard, and don't go too big too early, because you're already telling yourself it's not going to happen. Start small.
Yeah. Good. There's something I meant to tell you at the beginning and I forgot, so I do apologise. So this is a question without warning. I started a new thing a couple of weeks ago thanks to another member, and it is called Pass the Baton. And every podcast person is going to be asked a question from the last podcast person, but you don't know what the question is. But I'm going to need a question from you in a minute, but it'll be for the next person I talk to. But before that, I have a question for you. And my last person, as we spoke of a minute ago, is from Paul Pratt. I didn't even realise. So the question for you, he didn't know it was going to be to you, by the way, because that's part of the history.
How cool is that?
So his question to you is, if time and money weren't an issue, what's one event that you haven't been able to do that you would love to do?
Does it have to be an event or something? Is that an event?
That's the question.
Like
I guess it doesn't have to be a question.
Time and money, it would be run around Australia and share my story.
Yeah, an event doesn't have to be a paid event. It's still an event.
That is my huge passion. So that would absolutely. But in the Backyard Ultra, so that's my main. But I really want to do. Red Dirt, is it in Kerala? I think it's in 2 weeks. That's something I'd love to. That's something I'd love to do.
Is it in Northern Territory? Is it?
Yeah, in Kerala. Yeah.
Wow.
That's something I think It is Northern Territory.
No, it'd be Western Australia. I think Karratha is in Western Australia.
Is it?
I think. I've been there.
Geez, we're not good, are we? We live in Australia.
I've actually driven around Australia all the time. Well, most of Australia. But I have been to Karratha.
I want to run around Australia. I might not make it. I'll get lost. But yeah, that's one of the backyard ultras I'd love to give a go. That'd be something different.
Yeah. No,
but other than that, run around Australia. That would be my absolute.
That's your goal. That's one of mine, actually. It's one of the ones I wouldn't mind doing. I like to be like an old lady who runs around Australia.
Well, I reckon the age thing's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm 53 this year, and I feel like I'm just getting started, and that's me too. That's something that excites me. And I did, like I said, it's just every day is just a day where I get out to run, and what happens from there happens. But I just love it so much that I'll continue till I can't.
So you can't. Well, before you
can't, you put it on.
I need a question from you for the next person, and I am sorry, I should have mentioned it earlier, but it's a new thing and I forgot.
Geez.
Just a question about someone else's running. Either their motivations or, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be motivations, but that seems to be, might be something up your alley, or, what keeps them running, what they have, what they're thinking about coming up, what their best thing in the past was. I don't know. Doesn't matter, really. Made Jason.
Most people sort of stick with the same sort of running. Like you got marathons run marathons, and you got ultra runners run. Yeah. So to the next person, I don't know who it's going to be. Would you entertain the idea of running a different format from what you're running?
Oh yeah. So if you're a road runner, would you do trail? If you're a
like anything like backyard ultra, the trail runs, like the Mount Hotham runs, those sort of things.
Yeah.
Hang on. One other one for me going back. This is something that could happen, and I don't know how to say it. De La Sables in
in France,
Morocco.
Morocco. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to do that. I got a friend of mine, Terry Henderson, who actually did it. And he's
sound amazing.
Yeah, it's the challenge is next level. Yeah, so that's another one. There you go.
So how did you manage? Did you get 3 in that? I think you managed to do 3. Well done.
I couldn't find any, and now I've got
Well done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jason, like I said, it has been a delight. I won't ask you for any tips for people's motivation and things, because I feel like we covered that pretty much through the entire.
Yeah.
Cool. It's kind of what you talked about, which is awesome. So thank you for sharing so much. I will make sure that we put your link, or some links to your socials, particularly in the show notes, so people can follow it up and see what you're doing with the charity, because you're doing amazing work. Thank you for being you, and thank you for coming on the podcast and being so inspiring.
No, thank you. This has been great. This has been very easy.
It's so much
Sometimes, fun. It's been very easy. It's been very casual. I like it.
I love it. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for tuning in to the ZenRUN podcast. I hope today's chat left you feeling just a little more inspired to move in your way and on your terms. If you've got a running story you'd love to share, please reach out. I'm always looking for real, relatable stories that help remind us we're not alone, whether it's a big goal, a quiet win, or simply why you keep showing up. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to share it. Plus, if you're curious about the ZenRUN Club, come take a look. It's a low-key space with guided runs, simple training plans, and monthly challenges to help keep your running fun, motivating, and totally stress-free. Until next time, keep running, keep breathing, and keep showing up for yourself.